Hey everyone, new topic, and from the next few days we're going to be talking about suffering. And so this is an intro video to that topic, beginning with looking at what suffering really is, because it can get a bit mixed up and it can look like this conversation is saying just put up with whatever's going on, doesn't matter. It's, you can't do anything anyway, there's no self, there's no other, let them do what they want to do, become a doormat. And it's really the opposite of that, but it's worth looking at why. Because if we look at suffering, there are events and there are actions, there are circumstances that can be responded to, are responded to without imagination and concepts kicking in, without resistance, without a thought this shouldn't be like that. So if I think of our kittens, for example, if they, sometimes they get a bit fed up of being cuddled too much by 7-year-old boys. And so they'll scoot off and they'll just run away, and so there's like a point at which this isn't right for the being. The being's not thriving in this space, and so whoop, off they go. And as it is with cats, so it is with everything in nature. So it is with us. So it is with a plant that is too exposed. It will move more into the shade. If it hasn't got enough water, the roots will accelerate to try and find some. There's continual response to bring life in its form into the most flourishing space. Okay? And all of that can happen without any sense of this should be different, this isn't okay, I'm not right, something that I'm doing wrong here, look at what's going to happen in my future. Forget it. All response and moving away, moving towards, adjusting for pain, all can happen without an overlay of imagination and concept. But what happens is that the concept of self, the self idea, the idea of a separate self is suffering. That is by nature a state of suffering, because it's a belief in separation. It's a belief that everything is on these shoulders. It's a belief in agency. It's a belief in control, none of which is true. And while believed, it's trying to find the peace and freedom that it's looking for within these concepts, within this imagination, and it cannot be found. And so the very nature of an idea of self implies a degree of suffering. And the more robust the self-belief, in a way, weirdly, in a way, the more robust the self-belief, which leads to the more robust need for something to secure the self, the more intense the suffering. And so what can happen is that that need of the self to be secure is living in a reality that is made of that same need, that same lack, and the self trying to find security in a reality that only reflects back its need, its desperation, is intense suffering that actually has zero to do with the reality of the entity, which is powered and moved around and adjusted, regulated by life itself. So there's these things going on, and so it gets really interesting, this conversation about suffering, because within the bubble it can really, really look like denial, really, because the reality in the bubble is absolute. It's absolutely compelling. There's no question, there's no chink of this is not real. The whole thing, this is me, this is who I am, I'm limited, I'm fucked up, I'm getting stuff wrong, I'm in this world which is harsh and isolating, and I'm not thriving in this world. And so I just wanted to say one thing for us today is that suffering at the level of self, suffering at the level of identity, suffering when it comes to a belief in limitation, comparison, worth, value, future, past, all of that is the gift. Sounds harsh to say it, but that's the gift that we can bring into this conversation to explore what is constant in that, what never changes, what is it that's witnessing that suffering, what is it that is aware of that experience. It's the gift. The suffering is the gift saying, caught up momentarily in a film of self, in a film of reality that is not actually true, no matter how real it looks. And that's now the only navigational tool really to take to bring about realization. It's interesting, isn't it? And it really doesn't mean that through realization, as all of that film drops away, there's still this apparent body, still regulating itself, still moving away out of danger, that still taking painkillers for a headache. That can all still happen without this compelling film of a suffering, isolated, separate self. Okay, it's a good one. We're going to explore this over the next few days, but I just wanted to start us off with that. Okay, big love. Thanks. Bye.